My next guest is someone that my audience is very familiar with. He's been on this program before. He's an eminent theologian, expert on the Catholic Church, a former Jesuit, and more importantly, he is a real live exorcist. Now, I interviewed Malachi Martin on Saturday, April the 12th, as he could not appear live on the program tonight. So listen as we discuss mind control, and note that this man has had a considerable amount of experience with the spiritual realm and how it applies to our discussion tonight. You know, when you trace this stuff back, when you talk about the New World Order and the advent of it,
yeah,
it has, in the 20th century, there's been a lot of trails that have been left behind.
That's right.
To indicate that it's there, it's alive, and it's well.
And it's planned.
And it's planned.
It's planned.
And, you know, you mentioned Hitler a little bit ago.
Sure.
I know that Hitler had a lot to do with mind control.
Oh, he taught us how to exercise mind control psychologically. He gave us the tools. When we took Germany, we imported his mind control team of doctors.
Right.
And from that we've learned how to program.
How to program.
Yeah, how to program.
And I heard you mention on another program the Greenbaum experiments.
Yes.
Can you elaborate on that, what that is?
Well, Greenbaum is the name for... When the Nazis were looking for mind control, they developed the idea of programming. And of course, most of their subjects were Christians. And in their evil and their thoroughness, they chose the scenario for programming Christians. They chose the satanic black mass, which you know about.
Right, and I find that very interesting that they chose that.
Yeah. But for them, for Jews and for non-Christians, they were at a loss. But in their camp, and by the way, they had a special camp put at their disposal. They could do anything with the inmates. Kill them, torture them, cut them up, do what they liked. They found they had various Hasidim, Jewish Hasidim. And they found one boy who was 13, who was a Hasid, trained, and who knew the Kabbalah, the book of Kabbalah. So they said, we won't kill you, we'll feed you, if you teach us about the Kabbalah. And the Jewish book, the Kabbalah, formed the scenario for non-Christians and for Jews.
Now, what's the point of this? I mean, what was the point?
The point was that I have to, now, if I want to control your mind, I want to give you a set of programs. By the way, they use the Greek alphabet from alpha to omega for each of the programs. I have to give you a set of programs outside of which you can't move. And I can always evoke your response. For instance, omega, we know, was the program given to somebody for self-destruction. And if that program was evoked by somebody who had been programmed, the moment the keyword, there was always a keyword, the moment that was uttered in his ear, he would kill himself. And there was one program which fascinated everybody. It was a program against being deprogrammed. And the difficulty was that if we discovered that you had been programmed, in order to deprogram you, we had to fight against an anti-deprogramming program. You understand what I'm trying to say?
Sure.
And, well, Greenbaum, that's code name for this man, was transported to America with the other doctors, and he became an American, and took a medical degree and a psychiatric degree, and now practices his trade. And he has shown us how to program, and it's been used by several branches of the government.
I take it this man is still alive?
Yes.
And he is probably affiliated with the CIA?
The Army, rather.
Okay.
The Army, rather. But that's a whole thing, and it's been studied by psychiatrists. Because psychiatrists got interested in it, the psychiatric community got interested in it from the point of view of MPDs. MPDs being multiple personality disorder people. That is, somebody who thinks that he is John, Mary, and Joe, but in different personalities. And they found that it was the information from the mind control people was very interesting from the point of view of controlling the MPDs.
Now, let me ask you this. When you're talking about building a procedure, a medical procedure,
yes,
on esoteric religion,
yes,
Does that imply that the people who are subjected to this become diabolically possessed, or can be?
They are.
They are.
It's a form of possession.
Wow.
Yeah. It's the Manchurian cancers in real life, and we know the Manchurian cancers is... There was a general trend to seek mind control, not merely in the West, but in Russia, and amongst the Japanese and the Chinese. It was generally a scientific quest. The Germans got there first, and the scenario used is the green bomb scenario, and there are probably, I would venture to say, Michael, there are probably a couple of 100,000 people totally programmed, living as normal citizens.
In the United States?
Yeah, but ready to be activated with somebody who knows their program and knows the keywords.
This is very interesting because, you know, the similarity between what you just said and some forms of what we call or what we hear to be alien abduction say that. These people say that they fully believe that they are being programmed for a later date and that they have a mission.
They have. You always have a mission once you're programmed. What happens, they start when the child is 2, and there's a reinforcing at 7 and 14, and it's confirmed at 21, and then they're made. And I've had people sitting in front of me on a consultation basis saying, my keywords, let's write them down, and go to I will have to act, either phone or in my ear, or in the street, or wherever.
It's incredible.
Yeah, it sounds incredible and sounds sort of, you know...
Well, sure it does, but...
ridiculous, but it went so far as it was used in the training of certain parts of our special forces.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a whole long story. That's another subject for another discussion.
What?
And indeed, we're going to have that discussion at a future date. I don't know when, but all I can say again is, wow. Once again, let me give you some information here about this book about Frank Kemper that we just heard a minute ago. And once again, that was Father Malachi Martin, who is, like I said, an eminent theologian. He's an author of many books. The Keys of This Blood, and most recently, Windswept House, in an interview that I had with him on April the 12th. Now, if you want to get a copy